Okay, my head's really full, but I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. It feels like it's a weird sensation because it feels empty and full at the same time. And so I'm just going to talk about whatever, just go as I go. And so it's going to be all, I think you just got to get used to, like, anybody who talks to me, and this is something just in regular public too, like one-on-one with me, is one thing that drives people crazy when I talk, is because I'm like, boom, 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 it's like all over the place. But to me, it's not all over the place. To me, it all goes together, and it's hard because you're trying to capture all sides and push it in together. So it is not like I'm all over the place. It's like, oh, that part, oh my God, that part, good, you know, I want to pull it all in together. But it is, it's hard because most of the stuff is beyond our comprehension. It's beyond our words, and it's especially beyond most people's, what is the, I have fantasy coming into my mind, but, you know, it's like what they're able to perceive is based off of their ability to fantasize, kind of. It's the more you can open your mind, the more you can see. But I didn't ever finish what I was going to say about my tea, or about the honey the other day, because I thought it was really cool. And this is the kind of stuff that I see all the time. This is the kind of stuff, to me, that you got to have gratitude for and recognize that they're really there with you, working with you. So when I went to the grocery store, and that honey butter stuff, that it wasn't there, or creamy honey, I don't know what it is. It's like a thicker honey. It's like, it's so good. And so I really wanted another one, because when I got the first one, I was all excited when I opened it and saw it and tasted it. I was like, hell yeah, this is good. And then when my daughter came, I had gotten her, she drinks creamer in her tea, or in her coffee, and sweetened creamer, and I didn't get sweetened. So she used a lot of my honey. So I ran out fast. And then, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just go back and get some more at that place, at my favorite grocery outlet. And so when I went in and they didn't have it, I was like, oh man. But I was getting these weird flashes in my head, so I just felt peace about it. I always feel just like, okay, you gotta go with the flow. There's a reason. Don't get all upset. Don't freak out. Don't feel disappointed. Just go with the flow. And so I got my stuff, tried a different honey, one that actually has like honeycomb in it, which kind of freaked me out. I opened it yesterday the first time. I made my afternoon cup, and I put in a spoonful of that, and it left like things at the top, like rings of some. I was like, okay, it's got to be some good. It's so scary because they infiltrated so much of our stuff. Yeah, I got to finish the story before I go off on the goddamn things, the bots outside, motherfuckers. So, and the cystic, god damn these motherfuckers. So I left, and then I saw the little farmer's market thing. It's not really a farmer's market. It's like, because when I'm driving out there, like by Sumas and Linden, it's like right at the border of California, and that's like farms. And so, there's lots of farms there. That's why I can go down there and get farm fresh, you know, and be supportive. There's even dairy farms, but I had gone with the friend that I had made there for a while, who was a farmer. And, but people just want things from me that I just can't. Oh, I can give what I can give. But also, don't disrespect Stella. It's not a good thing. So then, but she said that she thought that the dairy farm, that they don't let their cows out. She said that she thought they were totally not morally doing their milk right and stuff like that. So anyways, but I could go down there and get it, be more fresh than, you know, buying whatever. I could go down and get creamer or whatever. But I'm off the creamer. Like, that was a big thing. That's something I was on cream tea for ever since I was a kid, man. It was when I went to England when I was 17, or 17 was the first time I went. And that is because I was already drinking tea, but it was there is when I started seeing about putting cream in it. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. And then they come out with coffee mate and all these different creamers. And so I was fucking hooked on that shit. I was fucking hooked on Sweet and Low for goddamn forever. I had to get off so much shit. And it could be fucking Sweet and Low that is that toxin that's in that is settled in my joints that gives me so much pain. 100%. Some of these chemicals that they use in this shit, in our products, they go in our bodies and they settle and they don't leave. And that was one thing too with the parasites, needing that charcoal as a carrier agent to remove all of that microscopic debris. And so I'm going to do those again. I'm going to see. I'm going to do it again like next week. Because if I'm doing all of this boron and all these different things that is killing all these parasites, which we're getting overloaded with them, I'm telling you. And then they are not carrying out. And that is, make you sicker. But when I took that charcoal pill, I don't even know what the hell happened in my stomach. So I'm going to do it again and see if it does the same thing. And if that is what happens because I've got an overrun of debris in there or something. Like, fuck, I don't know. Some of this shit is microscopic, man. Even when I got diagnosed in the colonoscopy with the colitis, they had to do that. It was microscopic. And like they could look at it and my intestine looked fine. But then with the sample, then it showed that my intestine was diseased, and so, or sick. I won't say disease, but all the things they do is create disease, and then we either go into the disease or we fight against it and try and pull ourselves back to homeostasis because they keep trying to pull us into disease. So, anyways, back to the little farm thing. So when I was driving by, I thought, well, I'm going to stop. I've got cash on me. I'm going to stop and I'm going to support the local gardens, see what they got growing right now. And there's some strawberries and cherries. I bought too much stuff that I could not eat, of course. I had to throw away half the cherries. And I still got some strawberries in there. Man, I really have a hard time eating stuff. It's just, I don't know. There's just something going on with, I think, the bodies, the energy, all of it. And then plus knowing the funk that's in our goddamn food. And then knowing that, they tell you have to eat all the time. They program you. So they program people just to get fat and unhealthy, these motherfuckers. So I go up to the thing and, I get my stuff and I go up to pay. And she had some honey sitting there. And I hadn't even seen it until it was just sitting there. And I go, oh, how much is this? And because I was thinking, oh, local honey. And I had it in my head. Somewhere in there, they were telling me how important it is about the local honey. They were explaining, this is like where their seeds planted. So it's not like they have to explain it. Remember what I said? No, they just pop up images and the images go together and you're like, oh, for me. But that is can be a development. So don't get hung up if yours communication isn't like that. Like mine's developed over time. So that's what I'm saying. Any of the things I say, if you try and do it like I say and you find yourself frustrated, don't think like, oh, well, see, I can't do it. I'm not. No, it comes more naturally for some people. And if you're struggling, then go and listen to somebody that isn't come as naturally. It's just like the same thing as when you're in school and we're taking math. And it was very hard for some of us, and it was really easy for some of us. And then, some of us needed somebody to help us walk us through it, and people who aren't good at it can help you understand it. Like, fuck, man. When I started in nursing school, I had to have a tutor for math. I'm bad at math. And so and it was, I never even got out of pre-algebra. I flunked all the maths in high school. And then for nursing school, which was a big thing to me, why I even did it, was because I didn't need so much math. You only needed basic math. Like pre-algebra was enough. But you had to have tons of science. And so we went, so I got a friend of mine to help me who was really, really good at math the whole time through school. And so having somebody who's really good at something show you how to do it, they can, show you how to do it, but their way may not be the right way for you. And so having somebody who's not good at it, this is why it's good to have so many different people. That's why it's important for me to talk, for everybody to talk, so that everybody who's a seeker can find what they're looking for. But so many people aren't comfortable being vulnerable and putting themselves out there yet. But there's going to be so much more of that. And there's going to be so much more of where people are going to see that that is what's going to become elevated in our society. And that people are going to desire and drive the motivation to get to that point. And, you know, because it's going to be kind of like, you know, you do toxic behaviors and it's going to really stand out. You know, if you're in a room full of healed people and you start doing that, it's like everybody's going to look at you like you're a child. So the development is important. And, you know, anybody knows, like, you've been around people who, you get around people who are older, and you can be with somebody who's like completely immature, you know, and so age doesn't matter. It's the maturity. It's the time you put into yourself to mature yourself and face yourself, you know, grow. And so that, so anyways, back to the honey. So when she said it was $25 for the big mason jar and $15 for the small one. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm getting the big one. I go through so much honey. I love, and oh yeah, because they had showed me how the plants grow in our yard. They grow around you. Like you are sending down waves into the earth, and the earth responds by sending back what you need. And so it's like our ecosystem is in regards to us, like we are a part of it, although we don't recognize or understand until we move more into this spiritual way of representation of our connection into this earth plane. And so when we go, you know, the stuff around us grows, it is to help us. But there is a whole thing about your own ecosystem. And see, this is what I'm talking about with the DNA, where they try and tell people, don't eat meat, don't do this, don't. You can't go against your own DNA. And if you were, you know, from lives where, and it's different through the things, like what you're representing at different times. I forgot I had, oh no, I guess I did drink it. You are representing different aspects. And so let's say it can be so many different, there's so many variables and versatility in all things. And that's why it's so mundane and redundant and ridiculous when I try and say one specific scenario, because there's nothing you can really hone in on. And the only reason I even give any is just so kind of to see, like, to understand, like, the energetic kind of thing or something. But sometimes I just feel silly saying scenarios because there's like a zillion of them. As soon as you look at one, it's like, fuck, there's so many. And it's everything to do with all the perspectives. Like, we got to start respecting this stuff, not judging it. But so anyways, when I got the honey and I got it and I brought it home, and then I opened it, I don't know, the next morning or the morning after that. I don't remember. Maybe even that day. I don't know. I didn't run home and open it. I just thought it was honey. But when I opened it, it was the honey butter stuff. It was that cream honey. So see, they made sure to see that I stopped there. They made sure I saw the honey sitting there, because one thing that people got to realize is when you're going around, you are in tunnel vision all the time. And it's kind of like, you know, like I've said, that it's like a directed vision on your own timeline or your own path. And they are trying to help you. So there's a purpose to the tunnel. Like if you were seeing all things, like it's the same thing with the veil. If you were seeing all things, it would be overwhelming, because you can see as people are awakening and the veil is falling away, how it is so overwhelming and how it is so making people feel like they're going crazy. And so the you know, if we were birthed into it, like how things are going to be, but it isn't going to be the same kind of pressures, because we in the 3D lifestyle, there's so much more heaviness and violence and stuff. And so moving up, it won't be like that same kind of and you know, I just saw this woman interviewing Stephen Greer, and she was saying something about the aliens and whatnot. And he said, you know, something's got to be cleared up because these are all different beings. This isn't just like it's one thing. And he was saying that we have the pretend ones, you know, the ones that our scientists have been making. And, you know, I mean, they've got some beasts out there in the forest and stuff that they've created. And, you know, but they're out there munching on people and animals and stuff in the forest, and they're being watched and tagged by our scientists. But those beasts are created here, and so they aren't truly monsters from another dimension. But then you have the ones that come from other dimensions, like I talk about, you know, they're far advanced, like they are far advanced, and coming here is a lot more heavy, and how they travel through portals. So a lot of the stuff I was saying, he was saying that I said in the and it's kind of like how they cannot be seen, because it's kind of like they remain in a portal kind of system. It's like densities and frequency, and to me it's like a big one where I can tell, like, especially like right now, it's trippy outside to me. It's so fucking trippy outside. Like I really, without having a spiritual knowing of things and stuff, I really don't know how people could handle stuff. Like, it's so trippy. It is like, it's fucking like, I feel like I'm on an acid trip or something. It's like I'm walking around in this three-dimensional picture, and it is, oh my God, it is so fucking, oh, I can't even get over what it is, like, so lush here, and everything is just growing and overgrowing, and oh, it's mental. And so it's like walking around in this, like, I feel like it's like this other reality already. I don't know, and I'm walking through it, but it feels like it's not everybody's in it. And another thing too, you know, like when they were talking about the people who are not awake yet, the ones who are trying to maintain the 3D. Well, there was all this talk about how it was going to become so much more uncomfortable. It was going to push them out. Like, you know, where people are so concerned people won't wake up. No, it's the hand of God is the universal action, that this is a set, it's a set thing. It's a set cosmic, you know, it's a set thing. I can't think of the word, but so there's no getting around it. Like, you'd have to fight to stay asleep. And there will be people who will, because it's going to be so much for their mind to to wrap around. But one thing is, I just keep noticing, like, yeah, I really, really feel like there's a lot of discomfort around. Like, a lot of, like, the problems are coming to the surface. And if you are fragile and don't know how to deal with them, it's going to be overwhelming. And I think a lot of people in a lot of these situations, a lot of stuff is going to surface, and people got to realize, like, I really think that there's so many people who are with their partners and they're not even on the same vibration. They're miserable. They just feel like, you know, they're stuck together. They're trying to live their own lives. And I was one of them, but I can see, you know, that's common. It just seems like a part of just acceptance of life. But that's going to break apart. That's definitely going to break apart. Oh, yeah, okay. Fuck. Oh, this is going to be like, okay. One thing, too, I just want to say before I go too much into it, was like, my dreams have been so fucking crazy, but I can't remember them. It's just like when I go to sleep, it's just like I'm going. Just like when I'm out here, man, it's so weird. God, things are weird. So weird. But so last night, my person who the universe has been showing me since 2017, this person is like, we're coming towards each other, like this magnetism, which is so strange, because how about what MAGA and magnetism. And that's why I think there's something about doing the work and working on yourself and the magnetism that pulls the souls together. And so it all goes together. I know it does. So I'm so interested to see how this all plays out. But anyways, my person was in my dreams all last night. Like, oh my gosh, they're just very much like right there with me. Like it was kind of like we were just doing stuff together in these dreams. And so anyways, that's kind of to them. So, you know, they can see like how, if they saw that or felt that or whatever. I can't wait to get to start talking to this person in person. Like there's so much to me to talk about. But anyways, so that was just a little side bit. But so there's all these different things of talking, all these different videos and stuff I'll see, and so many of them are always giving confirmation to stuff that I have been shown or told or whatever. Like I said, I don't go all deep into all this stuff. I don't go out and see the sun and go like, well, that's a fake sun. I don't think it's really fake until I go and have definite, the news tell me that it's fake. I'll look at it and go, that's a motherfucking fake sun. That is not real. And I'll start telling everybody, that's not real. That's not real. And so I don't go around saying stuff because I found the evidence. So any of the stuff I'm saying because it's stuff that they've shown me or told me, and I'm putting together pieces. And that's why I said even some of the things I say, you know, I can change my mind because the pieces are coming together all the time. Oh, but I was really surprised yesterday over the, because yesterday was Pride in New York, and I saw live some people on TikTok live, and it looked kind of, because I've been to the one in San Francisco, and it was big, and it was wild, and music, and it was very wild. This seems so, you know, I don't know. One thing I think that people really got to recognize is in the Pride parades that it's just corporation after corporation after corporation walking with their business name, and everybody gets a rainbow t-shirt from the business to show their pride and their little whatever fancy emblem they're going to do for that year to show their pride, and just one after another. And so maybe I just caught a weird part of their parade, because at the other parades there's a lot more of the dancing and stuff mixed in. But so for the few seconds I was watching, it was just cars and people, you know, like Bank of America, we're here to show we have pride, and they all walk, and all the employees walk. It's really like, come on, people, we really fucking care. But all the people that work at Bank of America who are gay or have a friend that's gay or whatever feels like, well, we got to go out and march for our pride. They got to start seeing this is corporate bullshit, man. So it looked like laying to me. It looked like there wasn't really much going on. And so the guy who was videoing, who was live, he was saying, yeah, this is the biggest event. It's so big and all this stuff. And so, you know, and so you know, I'm not there. I don't know how many people are on the street. But it made me think like, I wonder if there's going to be any violence or explosions or anything like that. And from whether, I don't think that there was anything. But I did see another video later of, this is just gross. I swear to God, I don't know what, and I don't even know if this was a New York one. I don't know how many parades there were yesterday. But so it shows the streets lined with families and whatnot. And it has a bunch of kids sitting on the curbs, you know, the parade. In San Francisco, the big one, there's lots of kids, but they're on shoulders and maybe standing in front of parents and this stuff. I don't know, I guess, I don't know about them sitting, because it seems like it would be getting stepped on and stuff. But anyways, there's lots sitting at this one, so maybe it just wasn't real wild. But it was so, maybe it was just an area. It could have been the New York one and it was real wild. I don't know. But in this footage, so you got all these kids sitting here with the families and whatnot, and the dancers. And it's 2 dancers. It's not a whole thing of drag queens, which is usually lots and lots of. It's all just, it's like a burlesque show of perversion. It's like an after midnight burlesque show. And then you have the corporations marching along. Yay, give us pride, pride, pride. And so this is a man, I would say, because aging is a difficult thing to say with how people do it so differently. But so he could be anywhere from 45 to 65. Tidy whities was all he was wearing. He had a 9-month-old, a 9-month term gut going there. And his dancing was so fucking gross. I fucking can't even believe it. Like, to me, when I saw that, all I could think of is like being a teenage girl back in the day, and you know, somebody's gross ass, but you spend the night with somebody's gross ass fucking dad, which my dad was probably one of them, walking out in his goddamn underwear, and oh god, it was so gross. And the tidy whitey, god damn. And he's out there, I think, doing that butt dance, twerking. So he's, oh god, it's so fucking gross. To see the visual of this guy and seeing these kids sitting, it is disturbing, to say the least. And that is why I was saying that, is that they've groomed the parents. I do not understand these motherfucking parents. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, this guy looked like, he's probably not, he's probably a distributor. Like, are you, oh my Jesus Christ. I'm just, I mean, how dark and deep some of this shit has got to go is fuck, man. That, to me, is kind of like, fuck, I was fortunate enough to recognize a goddamn perv from the beginning. Like, god, fuck. So sick. So, that footage was, like, gross. Then, so there's some scientists that are talking about that they are been working on trying to capture the consciousness. Like, I haven't been saying that in a long while. And doing their due diligence, trying to figure out what part, where to capture it from. I don't know, they think they can cut out your pineal gland. I think that's why they set these motherfuckers eat these kids' pineal gland. Like, fucking, I guess we could have kill her, so she's already dead. But she's, you know, she's on tape munching down that delight. God, oh my God, some of this stuff is so goddamn gross and dark. I can see this stuff. So, anyways, that they are, you know, actually trying to get it. I know that's what that maid thing is about. And, you know, I think Canada is like at 10,000 people now, or some. It could even be more that they've used in the May. Love vets, homeless people, depressed people, if you got eating disorder. So if you have any problems, that's Canada's solution. Just get in the Maid. And then I think they try and capture consciousness, because right now they've got their first synthetic, I think it said embryo. So they're going to try and grow these robot people, because they're growing clones and whatnot. But see, they want to make them more lifelike. They want to make them more like people, but they want them to be more controllable. They don't want us to be like, have a thought. See, it's just like the Greys made those little droid people, the little small Greys. That's what they want to do, and see how they've been. What in the fuck? Every time I start to say this about the color, them removing the color from the people. We're removing the color from the people, and that is, you know, they were making white people to try and control them, to try and take out certain things. And I saw this girl the other day, this is just a quick little thing, who was doing this video, and she was very white and kind of a little pink, but I mean, there's a certain thing when you see like a really super white person and they have that kind of like a pink tinge and they're kind of that stressed out look on their face and the sun's the devil and they can't go outside and, you know, so she was like one of them. And she had a skin cancer at 17 that was removed. And so ever since, she's been super paranoid and just lathers herself in sunblock. So she doesn't get any color in her skin. And she's telling about this, like, what was it? It was so strange. Her outlook on this. I don't even remember. It was just strange to me. It was like, that was a different one. But, you know, I mean, I can't shame her outlook. It's what she sees right now in her understanding of things. And, but it was something about white people and brown people and colored skin and stuff like that. And so, she, uses all this sunblock. And so I just commented on her because she said, we can't turn, I'm telling you, I don't even remember. It was very, like, it didn't make any sense to me. But there's lots of people out there saying stuff that, you know, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And so, you know, it doesn't have to make sense to me. It only has to make sense to them. It's their journey to themselves. And so, but I commented and I said, well, my skin turns darker in the sun. And if yours isn't, I'm going to say the sunblock. And you probably should look up the studies on the sunblock and the relation to skin cancer. Like, but I looking at her and her use of sunblock so heavily for so long, I thought, I wonder if it does do something to make it where there's some kind of interference in with the sun in their skin or something. Like, because I don't know, maybe she sits under fucking umbrellas and everything. She was so freaking white. And saying that she can't get any color. But just that overuse of, I don't know. It's fear. It's like a lot of things. And then plus there's a part of us that we have some sort of a control over some of that stuff. It is, I don't know, something that I'm just like kind of paying attention to. Like if I'm sitting in the sun and the sun is hitting into me, if I can use the sun to color all of my skin, or if I can only color the skin that it touches, if I can do it with my mind to move it around. So this is the weird shit that I think about. So this is my weird shit that I try and do and stuff. So anyways, but so the consciousness that they're trying to capture, you know, because they've got to animate. Well, for one thing, they're black boxes in their computers and stuff. Like, I won't be surprised if we find out some of this, some of their sentient AI is captured essence, soul, consciousness of a being, some that they've gotten. And well, that's creepy as shit. God, for sure. Getting the consciousness of other, like, capture a frog and then get its consciousness because they want to see what the fuck a frog thinks about a dog. And yesterday, and it makes total sense because yesterday when I'm walking, Stella did another walk. Oh my God, this girl she's kicking my ass now. I go out and walk. We walked for 2.5 hours yesterday. It's like, Jesus Christ, she just wants to go and walk. I'm going, girl, she's decided that she's got to patrol the neighborhood. She's got to patrol the whole neighborhood. She's got to go around. She's got to sniff everything. It's like the longest ordeal. And then she gets so excited if she gets to interact with anybody. And plus, it's just changing her personality. She's just, oh my God, she's a character. She cracks me up. But she just really wants to go and walk. And I saw that when we were at that little farm last year at my ex's sister's farm. And they have 5 acres in Petaluma out. in Northern California. It's beautiful. And Stella would just go out there and walk around all day. And then when I would go out looking for her, she'd be out laying in that barn, or she'd be out walking and sniffing things. She just led. So that is one of the things I really want to get. My own little ranch, my own little place. But now I know I don't have to do any of that stuff with my kids. You know, I mean, maybe, you know, I'll buy them a piece of property or something, you know, because I have been planning for this. I'm not going to punish them because they haven't been. But, you know, we'll just see how things go. Because a part of it, you know, they have to go through their consequences and experience, and that's part of what their soul is here to learn and grow from. So I can't run in and rescue it. They need to process it. But, you know, I know for me, I want to get a little farm. Well, for me and Stella, and I think my person is a little farm, and but still travel. But that's one thing she's definitely showing me, is like that she's ready. She's ready to get out there. She's ready to go. She's ready to meet people. She's excited about it. And so I feel this energy moving so much towards this. And seeing it in the physical with her. And then she has me out there walking and walking and walking. And I just feel like, man, we're preparing. We're getting ready. We're going to get out there. We're going to start going around and meeting people, talking to people. I have so many people on, which is so crazy, because it's still 200 views, 200 views, 200 views. But there's a lot of other people complaining about, but they're complaining about they only get 500 views. It's like, join the 200 club, 200 view club. It's like, it's very frustrating. But I still get people who, a lot of people, it seems, most of my likes are from me commenting in other people's posts. So me going in and talking to other people, that's where I get most of my likes. Because I only get like 15 or 10 likes on all of my posts. And so, but that is, I'll have people talk to me and say, but I get so many people who want me to come and hang out with them, come join their commune, come and, you know, they want to, I don't know, talk to me and hear more about what I have to say or something. So lots of people who want me to come and hang out with them and stuff. You know, I don't want to travel around until the so it's like safer. Like, I know right now this is the most dangerous time, and then seeing like one crisis after another in airports and traveling. There's a very traumatic one going on. This girl's sister in Mexico, she moved there a couple of years ago, and she's been living in a resort, and so she decided to leave, and that she's going to move back to U.S. Last month, and she told her the people who she rents from at this resort, and they locked her up. They have, they're threatening. It's fucking scary as shit. She's like being held ransom. They are threatening her, and she's there with her little kid, and she's been living there 2 years. She's panicked. They're following her everywhere. They're saying they're going to kill her and her kid, that she has to pay all this money and stuff. So she's freaking out, but that is the step that I've been saying. We're going to hit into these things. It's one after another of horrible, traumatic things going on in the world. And it is because it's all falling apart. And I, you know, I could see it coming, and I knew it was going to be like, your safest place is to pull in and keep yourself safe. And people who are just out there, just even when I see this footage of these people live in LA and in New York, and just seeing it in Nashville, and seeing these people just out partying, walking around just like life's regular. And yesterday after the Pride Parade, when this guy kept, you know, going around, there's lots of these guys who just go around on scooters and film live through these big cities. It's in Korea, it's in, I mean, they're everywhere. And so they just walk around and show you and talk. And so while he was doing it, I just saw it for a second, because I was trying to see, like, is there anything going on? Is there any, like, where's the tanks? Is there any tanks there? Like, so you're trying to see, and it just looks like people are just walking around just so normal and just talking, and just, it's like this oblivion to that there's anything to worry about. And I was like, that's the people right there that's going to impact so significantly. And there's so many in these big cities and stuff. And they all just walk around just blankly, you know, is a disconnect. It's like they connect to the wrong thing. It's a disconnect from what they need to connect to. And that's the nature, the natural part. And they connect to the artificial, the superficial, this part that feeds their ego. And so, man, it was kind of like when I was looking at it, it was almost like like I could see like a scary, like one of those like Armageddon movies coming. All of a sudden, the water comes and sweeps in and drags all the people out, and they're all screaming in hysteria. You know, like the tsunami that took out all those people on that one island. What was that? That was a few years back. You can look up the movie. It's fucking devastating. I remember when it happened, and it was like all these people were out there, and then it swept in, and they just was like, they weren't expecting it. And it just, people are just out shopping and doing stuff. It just came in and took them, and it turned into this big devastation. And oh man, it's traumatic. Because there's the movie I saw, there was other things I had seen about it, but the movie that was a story of a family that was there when it happened and their ordeal. But, you know, there had to be so many ordeals. So, anyways, that's what I was seeing. When you just see these people just walking around just oblivious to a crisis. And then and plus, like in New York or in some of these cities where there's tanks, because there's supposedly 12 cities that are being held. And I don't know, maybe mine's one of them, because I swear to God, we're being poisoned daily. And that are being held like for ransom. You know, we're going to do this unless you do that. So they've got a stranglehold on 12 cities. I don't know what the cities are. I know that there's some going on over here by where I'm at. I mean, we've got planes going over us all the goddamn time, and helicopters. And then the helicopters aren't as common, but there's definitely been helicopters going over us, and these weird loud planes, and then other weird noises. And so, but it's the poisoning thing. It's the smell and these weird drug feelings, and you know, and then Stella going back into not wanting to eat, and then she starts snoring because she's been going sniffing and sniffing. Now she keeps doing these big sneezes like something's gone up in her nose. Yesterday when I was sitting outside, I felt like I was fucking being attacked by these neopods. I don't give a fuck. These morgue things, I swear to God, I'll say the word in a weird way. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go look up about it, because I started hearing about it a few years ago. And I started having people asking me about it. And so I was looking into it about it. So you can look into it for yourself. But it all goes together, to me, from a whole bunch of different things, what I've seen. So the morgue. And then you add into that word, Ellen's. And so then that you put those two words together, and there's these things, and people have found them coming out of them and all sorts of stuff. And the doctors were telling these people they were crazy and stuff like that. They're not. And then there's other people who are being attacked by them and stuff. And I don't know if they can, like, if they are like programmed somehow to go and to find certain markers inside of us or something. I don't know. It's weird. But, you know, when I'm sitting outside, as I was sitting outside crocheting, and Stella kept being so whiny. So I was sitting outside, and I was being fucking attacked, man. I was going, I feel him going in my ear. This one was the creepiest motherfucker. So I felt something go in my ear. And so, of course, I'm like, Mom, get out. And so then I feel something going through my motherfucking head. And I'm like, okay, stop. Okay, don't think about this. Okay, then I feel that something goes through, gets over here, some other thing, then moving. I was like, okay, stop. You're not even real. You're a fucking hologram. Get out of your goddamn head. This isn't really happening. So get out of your head. And then I have to go through this whole thing where they explain things to me and all this stuff. So, and I'm having him going, and kept on going and trying to get in my eyes. I could feel him. I could feel him crawl across my face, go through my eyelashes, trying to burrow in through my goddamn eyes, fucking going up my nose like a motherfucker. And then you start going and you start sneezing. You can feel them like a gnat flying up your nose. And I'm like trying to blow and all this stuff to try and get them out. And I couldn't feel them going in my mouth. But that guy who shows with the grape juice, I haven't found any grape juice. Well, I found, I think it's like $5 or $6 for a big one. And then it's like, fuck, that's just going to make me more nervous. Spitting out and seeing how much shit we're actually having these motherfuckers in us. And so, and I know that that is the parasite. There's some sort of parasitic thing to drain us and hone in somehow. Like their little, I don't know. If they got like something like atoms or something that we can't see, and somehow they have a whole bunch of these, because they've been saying they work on these goddamn things, these neobots, they're putting them out, and these things are there to change our internal with our DNA and stuff. So, and I can't even with these fucking people with their, I'm a pure blood, motherfucker. Do you eat? Do you goddamn breathe on this planet? Shut your fucking mouth with your goddamn pure blood shit. I'm so sick of that shit. These people, this is, I'm the chosen. We're the chosen. We're awakened. We're chosen. We're the pure blood. So like, goddamn these fucking ego motherfuckers. Come on, people. My God. Person after person. Well, these other ones, they're never going to wake up. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What we're gonna see is all you egomaniacs are gonna fucking really be eating, what is that? Eating crow. You're really gonna be eating crow here pretty quick. Fucking, all we can do when everybody's chosen. How you gonna be chosen then? You gotta choose yourself. Fuck. The Almighty has chosen me. Fucking God. So, it was, did I finish with that rant? That really irritates me. I mean, because you can have some of these people that can be saying really smart things, but then they go into these other things where it's just like, I'm the chosen one, these NPCs are never going to wake up, that, they just have these certain things that they say, and it's all based on ego and a disconnect from social or spiritual understanding. Oh yeah, because the DNA thing, because like your person, your DNA, if you were like up here where I'm at. Okay, so say we didn't have grocery stores in like 100 years ago. Which 100 years ago, there's all sorts of people finding pictures and shit from other countries all over the place. That all this electricity, all this stuff that they said didn't exist, that existed. And so it seems it was around 100 years ago that they tried to do this reset, wipe out a bunch of people, and then put in a bunch of white people. So it seems like there was something, which they've tried to do before, but there's something that they tried to do that had to do with these baby cabbage patches, these making babies in labs and incubators, all these state fairs, like it all goes around there, something with the reset. And maybe it was that they had these state fairs, they showed these babies, they thought the people accepted it, so they wiped out all those people, and then all the babies that they put into the orphan trains, because they didn't wipe out the people over in the Midwest, the farms and stuff, they still needed the agriculture, they still needed people to have growing food, so they put them out on the farms, which I come from farms, and there was some weird things, like with my grandmas, that I've never known the stories. I've known my grandpas, where my one grandpa is from Scotland and the other one's from the Crane. And the one from the Crane, he came over in 1912, I think is in the back of the pictures, when they came over with his family. He was a little kid. And, but they left there because of the, I think it was something about a famine, because that was even part of when the medium was talking to my grandpa, and he was showing her images of like starvation and a famine and stuff. And she was talking, she thought it was, this is why I'm saying the translation and stuff is very specific, where you have to develop it. And so her reference was the depression. So she was referencing the depression as the starvation of where he felt very, as a child, this very much was significant. But it didn't, I kept on being like, oh, there's something with the time that doesn't add up to the time to me. But then over the past year, I started seeing more things about the crane, and about that they had starved out their people. I think it was around 1910 or something like that, where they had starved out their people, doing like what they're doing now here. And so they had, but it was less people, and they had more control. And so it was easier to do. And so it was like a couple of years, I think, where people were starving and not having food. And I think that's when they left. And it is something about, and don't forget, in the New York Times, it was having all this stuff about Jews and stuff like that. So there was already a lot of turmoil of wiping out certain groups of people and saying that this group of people was toxic and sick and stuff. And so, but man, you look and listen to that Rabbi Finkelstein, and it's like, fuck, dude. Yeah, I can see if they were all like that. Fuck. God damn. I think that they were just regular. But, God, fuck, that Finkelstein guy. Man, if you've never heard that guy, you just go listen to some of the secret rabbi talks. It's disturbing as shit, man. Like, you'd think that's the cabal right there. So, and that maybe is what Kanye has tried to say. Maybe that's what fucking, what was that movie with, the guy who usually is in funny movies, and he did that series movie where it's the Jewish, a jewel dealer in New York, because that's a whole thing. That stuff is a whole thing. They're gangs, man. I mean, they're like same thing as like the Italian gangs, the Irish gangs, the Jewish gangs. These are gangs, like mafiosa gangs is what I'm talking. Not just like, red bandana and blue bandana. No, these are fucking gangsters. And there's Jewish gangsters, Irish gangsters, Italian gangsters. I don't even know. It seems like the Italian ones were really, man, I don't know. But that has been such a big part of so much of this, just these gangsters. They've infiltrated through our society, but it was like the people with all the money started using the gangsters to control the people, like the instigators. See, when they ran out of gangsters, they had to start creating them, getting instigators, like from other countries and stuff, terrorists and stuff, criminals. That's a good way why they want to filter the people into the prisons. So that's what I said too. Like I said, the eyes, like, they know exactly. They know people's records. They know who to fucking hire. They know who to direct where. I swear to God, I bet you they put them with certain fucking, what are those people called? The people who, just saw it in a movie, the fucking Perv movie, where they made it like it's a goddamn love story. It's so gross. God, it's so gross. I mean, it really turned my stomach, especially because the girl so many times looked like me as a little girl. I was just like, ugh, this is so fucking gross. And they make the little girl like she's, oh God, it's so gross. God, that fuck. Parole officer. So I think that I for 100%, fucking, there's parole officers, there's CP, all these motherfucking people. Just like it was just shown right clearly that they were trying to put some pervy fucking weird motherfucker in Seattle in a position, because that's what they motherfucking do. That's why they want to have the prisons and stuff. They're looking for criminals. They're looking for instigators. They're looking for people to harass us, kill us, murder us, rape, all that shit. As they want that. They want us terrorized. They want us controlled, scared. And so, this guy, I just saw this video, is when he was talking about these scientists that are trying to go through the consciousness, they're trying to get our consciousness, and they're trying to take out, like, well, we're sure the consciousness must be in here. And so they'll take it. And he's like, well, you'd have to take the heart. The soul is in the heart. It is the energy that pulses the heart. Your soul is what, and it makes so much sense, is because where your heart space has its own, it has its own, it is like its own, it's like a different brain. It's a different way of thinking. And this is what has always gotten me to be called crazy and stuff. Like, you don't make any sense, Kelly. You're so illogical. You don't just do that, because I didn't use this brain. I would use this brain. And a lot of times this brain would tell me something that didn't make sense to people. And I was always so confused through life until I got to the part where I saw it's because everybody's cut off from their soul. So, like, no wonder I seem like a weirdo. And so, but going through the heart space, because there was a lot of times, where somebody fucked me over, but I knew I'm not supposed to become resentful. I'm not supposed to become angry, vengeful. I'm not supposed to get even. I understand the balancing. I understand that everything works itself out. It's not for me to run around and do it. That's exhausting. That there's a natural order that takes care of things, and it's not for me to oversee. And so that would be one thing that would seem confusing to people. Just like to me, I feel like in that show, this pervy guy, the Family Friend, I think it's called. And don't forget, there's two though. There's a documentary and there's a series. And so the documentary, the Family Friend, the Hart. I can't remember what I was about to say, but so but that guy was talking about the soul being through the heart space, and I was like, oh, that exactly makes so much sense to me, especially when you go through your Kundalini and awakening and stuff, and when it gets to the heart part, and a lot of times my heart still is doing it all the time. Sometimes I think it is this person that I'm connected to. I can feel them in my heart. It's weird. It's really weird, because my heart will start like going crazy and stuff. It's weird. And so, so that to me is like our souls, it's kind of like this magnetism that's pulling our souls closer together or something, but I can feel it. And so I know, that to me for sure, like the energy comes through the heart. Like the birthing process, the child comes through the canal, but the soul is coming through the heart. It is like this micro, macro expression, exaggeration that goes out, if you can see what I mean. And that's what I'm saying, how it's like all connected, but it's like an expression of going out further. And so the heart, the soul is birthed through, but the distraction that is the visual, like there's so much distraction meant for you to connect to yourself in there. And I'll tell you another interesting story, because remember when I was talking about, like, I don't want to have other people's parts in me and all of that stuff. So I just saw this story, and this guy, I don't know his name, but I know he's off of like Gaia channel, and I think he's off Ancient Aliens, but I don't even know what all shows. And he might be like a metaphysical kind of scientist or something. I'm not really sure what he is. But he's got like blondish hair, and it's kind of like to here. And but it seems like I've seen him around as long as Stephen Greer and stuff, and he's always talking about this stuff. There's a few people. There's also that the guy with the black hair and the black mustache. I don't know his name, but you see him around a lot. And then there's that one, the short guy. He's on Ancient Aliens a lot. And he's got the crazy hair. And he's kind of younger. They all have distinct voices. And they're all like, if you are into UFO stuff and watch those things, you know who these different people are. So the blonde guy was telling a story about a girl. And it was a little girl who was 8 years old, and she had something wrong with her heart, and she had to get a heart transplant. And at the same time, another little girl was killed who was the same age. And so she went in and she got this little girl's heart. And so right after she had this little girl's heart, she started having nightmares all the time. And so they took her to the psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist said, this isn't nightmares. These are memories that she's having. So they hypnotized her to pull forward this memory. And I'm pretty sure they did it through hypnosis. No, maybe she could remember it well enough, but they had somebody come in and draw so what her memory was is that she's, every time she would start to go to sleep, she would remember she's running through the woods and she's being chased. Then the guy catches her and he kills her. And right before he kills her, he says like 4 words to her, and then he kills her. So she tells the psychiatrist and all that, they have somebody there to do a picture. They draw a picture of the guy's face. They even put it out on the media, and they catch the guy through this thing. They pull him in, and he's freaked out. And they ask him, he broke down, he told the truth. And then he said the 4 words that he told the little girl when he was telling the story. He said the exact thing that the little girl had said that was told to her. So, and he went to trial on this, and was found guilty. And, but that's what I was saying the other day when I was saying, like, I don't want somebody else's stuff in me, because that is, especially the heart. So you think about that's where the soul is. And then the soul is like through the heart. So these people who get someone else's heart, so then you're sharing your space with this other, it isn't like the consciousness, like, but it still is holding something. You're still holding on. It is like, even in old folklore and stuff, if somebody passed, you were supposed to burn all their things. That's why you would go and, like the Vikings or whatever. Like, that's the kind of one I want, is like a Viking death. Just, put me out on a boat and, put my stuff on it and then burn the boat out in the water. I think those are so cool. And then you go and become a part of the earth. And I like those. I mean, those make sense to me, which, a lot of people are starting to notice, like, there's not a lot of new cemeteries going in. Like, what's going on? I would say probably, there's a lot of, my granddaughter who's buried, she's at a cemetery, the giant old cemetery, still got spaces. So I don't know if some giant cemeteries expand and there's such a huge influx of cremation, but we know for sure that they're definitely, the signs are all around you, Soylent Green, like, wake up and watch what you eat, like, for sure. I feel bad, some of this meat that I get for Stella, man, fucking telling. But getting the whole chickens, but still, the chicken I cooked for her the other day, I was like, fuck, this could be a lab-grown chicken. This is weird. It is weird. Like, the meat is like mushy. It's not like, it's weird. So, let me think. Yeah, so the little girl and the DNA, like, I don't want somebody else's DNA inside of me. And I think that there's a thing, like, where the Jehovah's Witnesses said about, oh yeah, because when you hold on to people's stuff, you hold on to their energy, so you keep pulling that energy back. And so letting go of their things and burning their things up and stuff like that. And so there is a process to letting go of the spirit. And so if you are holding, like, if the being is partially put into you, like if you take the heart of somebody and just think, I mean, that little girl was murdered and then that girl had to start experiencing it. But just think, like, if you get the heart or any parts, ugh, the eyes, like they've shown this in movies so many times. And like, when I saw in movies, I was like, oh, hell yeah, that's true for sure. You get the eyes of somebody who looks at life through a weird way. Maybe they're a perv, and now you're seeing through their eyes. Like, I really feel like that there's, I mean, I don't know anything about Jehovah's Witnesses other than that they would refuse medical, like, transfusions, and definitely don't be putting anybody else's parts in them. So I don't know their whole philosophy behind it. But to me, it makes sense. Like, I think it is, like, it's going to kind of all go together, I think, with this whole transhumanism and them trying to make people and putting people together. Like, I think people are going to be really surprised when they really find out how much of a science experiment lab that you're residing in. Also, I saw this girl yesterday. I've seen her before, and I think she's off of Gaia Channel too. And I don't remember how I had seen her, because I've only seen a little bit of her. And maybe it was on the Moore Show, because the Moore Show, he talks to a lot of channels. And so if you like to go and listen to what the different channels say, he has a lot on there. But there's a lot on Gaia Channel too. But oh yeah, okay, so this girl was, and she's younger than me. I don't know, she's like, I would say in her 30s. She definitely looks young. But so she said that they started talking to her when she was little. And, it's the same, like, well, I was paying attention because she was saying they were talking to her ever since she was little. And that is the same thing that happened to me. And she said that it's the Anunnaki that had been talking to her. And, I don't know. Just to me, it's never seemed important. It always seemed more important about what they were saying. And there was like just a general overall knowing, like, but it wasn't specific, like the name, like where she said the Anunnaki. Like, I definitely was not asking them when I was little, like, who are you and why are you telling me these things? It was like, to me, it was way more, man, what was it like? Because I remember being 3 and remember being surprised when these people started talking to me. And I started talking back to them. And I don't know. I mean, I would think I was probably talking to them before then. This is just when I really remember it. And so knowing I was talking to them, but I definitely was not like, who are you? I just, like I said, then I for sure thought it was like angel and devil, like that, one on one shoulder and one on the other. They were trying to like lean me in one direction. And, but I don't remember, because there's so many times and instances that I can remember talking to him, but not ever asking. But it definitely always made me know that we were being watched. And us knowing that we were being watched could have been one of the reasons why there was sometimes I kept myself out of certain situations. Like I didn't go and do like really dark, weird, pervy things, like, because it was always being watched, like I knew, like, your grandpa's sitting there watching. And it's not like sitting there watching, it's different, like, but you're, whatever you're doing, yeah, is an energy that goes out, and the people feel that energy. And so, I don't know, it depends on what kind of energy you're using. Like, there's so much perversion that uses a dark energy. And, oh, that's what this, okay, so, yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to say. The scientist, oh, yeah, okay, it was Stephen Greer. Okay, yeah, so it was Greer, and he was talking about when he was in this interview with this girl, and she was talking about all these different kinds of aliens and stuff, and he was talking about the different kinds, and he was saying that there's the man-made kind that our scientists have made, and then there's the interstellar, there's ones that are on our planet, but it's dimensional. And so they're not in the same, but they're in the same. And then there's the ones that come outside. And I'm trying to figure out, like, when he's talking, is he talking like that we have space? Like, his outer space isn't like what we think. Outer space is different. It's not like we have to go and travel. Like, when they took me through space, it's more like space. It isn't like a space. Just think about the word space. Only don't use it as where it's the noun. Okay, the noun is the descriptor is the adjective. So the noun, the verb is the action. The noun is the thing. So don't use space as the place that they told us that there are all these things out there. Use space in the concept of, give me some space. Go out of my space, like that kind of concept. So in space, having space is an emptiness. So it isn't like a space and it's full of stars and planets and all that stuff. It's an emptiness. So space is the emptiness outside of the realms, kind of. It is like going to the blackboard to learn. It is, it's just different. And so to me, because looking out, when I was laying out there, and being attacked by the bots, and looked up and saw the Nibiru or whatever this space planet thing that is so close, that I think is going to be, something's going to bust through. And there's so much weird shit in the sky. Like, ugh. I can't help but just stare how weird the sky looks. Everything looks so weird. And there's people now freaking out saying, like, the sky looks weird. So, and everything's fake and stuff. And when they're sitting there saying some of that stuff, I'm like, they're not seeing it on the same level. They're saying it's like, oh my God, everything's so fake. They don't even know how fake, and they're crying already. So I'm telling you, there's gonna be people that are gonna freak the look out. And so, so especially if it's dramatic like this. And one of my dreams the other night that I forgot to say was, it was weird. It was really strange. But my dreams are so weird. It's just like I'm just going. Like, I don't know how to explain it. But I was outside, and it was with people and stuff. But the sky split. And I've seen so many pictures of this. And I don't know if it was just in my mind or something. But the sky was split. There was two distinct skies. One on this side and one on this side. And, I mean, that keeps being shown in so many pictures. But that, to me, is kind of like the communication of the two things splitting to reveal. And so to me, it's like this all this action in the sky, all this uneasiness, this energy, and all these chemicals. That to me is going to be some kind of explosion or something in the which is surprising that they still haven't. I mean, how much can they threaten and not do anything? It just shows to me it's all just trying to create fear and stuff like that. Their hands are a lot more tied. And oh yeah, there's a whole I don't even know if this is all done on research or whatever, but boy, this whole thing about Trump being Patton's son, and Patton, Flynn, and JFK Jr., all the cousins, and there's a whole thing you can look up about that. It was interesting, but there's a whole thing about that. There's a truth conference tour happening right now. I think they are in San Fran, or maybe they're in New Mexico or something. They're somewhere. Maybe they're in California. No, maybe they're in San, I don't know. They're traveling, going in and talking to people. And the clip I saw was, I can't think of her name because there's a realtor here who has a kind of similar name, and her name's on the signs, and her name is similar to this reporter. And I would see this reporter a lot through 2020 is when I very first started hearing of her. And she was always a little extreme. Um, so, but she has a lot. I mean, she's been in this business for a long time. She has a lot of connections, kind of like that other girl. And I can't think of her name either. But she's also from the ufology community, and she's got real curly hair and wears glasses, and she's been around forever. She was a journalist as well, and she had started on the animal mutilations. That's what turned her. She was a reporter who went out to do stories on that, and that's when she started seeing that there was something more going on. So she's been a whistleblower and disclosure of the ufology for a long, long time. She's been around, and she's always, I mean, she's still around all the time. This woman, this other one, she has long blondish hair like to here. She's probably like around my age, and she's her name, it seems like it starts with a K, but she was the one talking on this thing, and something she was saying, oh yeah, because she was saying Juan. And Juan has come out and said he's not JFK Jr. This is where I was like, what? So she's saying he's JFK Jr. She's saying, I've met him, I've talked to him, he's JFK Jr. He's our president, he's our vice president right now. He's our vice president, 107. And that Trump is the commander-in-chief. So I only saw this part where this person was sharing that. But I was like, I've heard Juan himself. I've seen him. You know, he's a big old burly guy with a big old beard and stuff. Rodriguez has seen him. And because there were so many people who were speculating on that he was JFK Jr. And so many people started seeing him in person, and he's huge. He's a big old guy. And where people were like, that's not him. But she was saying he's a general with the highest degree, and that, you know, but they do have masks and stuff, but still, I've seen where there's pictures that people have, and it could be photoshopped, I don't know, but the pictures where people have shared, that if it is really JFK Jr., it looks exactly like him, only older, and he has a beard that's like gray, very handsome, but he looks the same. He doesn't look like way different. And Wano Saban, he's like a big old, I mean, I can totally see that he's a general. I mean, he's somehow involved. He somehow knows these people. So, you know, somehow he's involved with it. But if they're out on tour saying that stuff, so even, you know, when they're out saying the truth and stuff, like, I don't know. Like, everybody's got to use your own discernment, you know, and what makes sense to you. And if you believe something and then you find out that it wasn't true, you just got to let it go. You know, I mean, we're at a very misinformation time, you know, and you're at a time of development of self, learning to trust yourself, learning to pick up on the messages and the signs and stuff like that, and understanding your communication. So I mean, I think it's going to really, there's going to be a lot of people, you know, you can see how dramatic some people are. Some people cry like little babies over every little fucking thing. So there's going to be a lot of people, you know, is going to fall apart because they didn't see this and they were tricked by that. Like, I see videos all the time. People bawling their heads off over how they were tricked. It's going to be so huge, man. When it goes mass, man. It's going to be like, oh, damn, it's going to be intense. All these people crying and angry and mad. And it's all going to kind of go at once. And then it's going to be what each person does with that information themselves. Do you use it to heal? Do you use it to be more forgiving to others? Like, each person, you know, it's for them to get to see. And, you know, and there's still the whole thing about playing parts for people. So even when you are, you know, done some shitty thing, it doesn't mean you're a shitty soul. You have no worth or anything like that. You love that person enough to be the bad guy. And just like what I'm saying, even when this shit goes down, it isn't going to be something where I can just run in and rescue. You know, I had bought them all a piece of silver too a long while back. And, nobody even thinks anything of that value at all. But so when they start seeing it, I'm not going to just be like, oh, here, I know you didn't plan. Because to me, I even told my one daughter, I said, this is so much what's going on. I feel like is the Three Little Pigs story. Like, it's crazy. You got the ones that are out there just walking around out downtown, just having a good old time. Don't pay attention to a goddamn thing. And you got the ones that are just like, well, let's just throw some shit up. It'll be okay, because they made it with the sticks, the hay. But mine is the bricks. And I was prepared. I have been getting prepared. And so that's what I feel like. All these other people are just, got the sticks and the hay. And then they're going to be running around to the ones with the bricks, like, save me, save me, save me. But they have to learn the consequences of the sticks and the hay. They got to learn the consequences. You can't just run in and save somebody so they don't learn their lessons. You're not doing them any favor. You're just developing more with the toxic, dysfunctional relationships that we have had before that have been a burden, that have weighed us down, where people have become dependent on others to make them feel good, to make it rescue them, make it all better for them. And then they go out into the world. They need their spouses. They need their partners. They need the teachers. They need everybody to make things better for them. And that's why we've got these fucking adults out there crying over feelings and all this stuff. And like, they can't manage themselves. They're emotionally, they're spiritually bankrupt. They're emotionally raw. They're emotionally debilitated. And this is going to be curious, too, to see what happens today, Monday. What is it? 6:38 here on the West Coast. So it's 9:38. So the banks have already started opening. And there was another person at a store who was sharing a video that you had to have cash. All the machines had gone down. Now it was a Walmart. And they even put a sign up in the store. And so she was saying, told you guys, you better get your asses ready because the shit's going to go down. And don't forget, July 1st is the Fed now. We've only got days. Like, this shit has got to go, this shit's got to go down. And there's no telling, what they're going to do to the 12 cities that they have a stranglehold on in order to try and keep control. And so, and we don't know how much of it is the show and how much of it is just that there is, that they've got total control. It's hard to know. But this will be where, because to me, the other day, I don't remember if I even said this one, because I went to the grocery store. I think I said this one part so I went to the grocery store, and then the machines went down when I was in there, and nobody knew what to do. It was a fucking chaos, fucking thunderfuck, I swear to God. And then finally I got mine handled, and so I left, came home, and then I looked on my account just to see, I don't know, they told me to look on there, and I saw that it was selling there 3 times. And I was like, so I called the bank, and the bank said, oh, look, it should fall off because it's just pending. And so I said, okay, so if it doesn't, should I call back, blah, blah, blah. And so then I called the store and told them, don't run anymore. It's already pending 3 times. And so then the next day I went and looked, I'm still pending for one of them. So I was just like, okay, I'm not going to, and my balance hadn't changed. It's all been reduced. It's all taken the money out. And so the next day I saw that they had taken it out. They took all 3 out of my account. So the bank wasn't open yet. So I called the store, and the owner was there, and I talked to him, and he said, well, let me call my thing. He said, there's all sorts of things why that should never happen. So let me call my IT person and see what's going on. So he called his, and he called me back a while later, and he said that they tried to run it 7 times, but they only got paid 1 time. But he said that there was 7 charges, but 1 pay. And so I called the bank and told them, and then they're like, oh, well, that should never happen. Well, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, you guys have the money. You have the money, but you don't put it in my account. So where's the money? And so then they're just like, oh, I don't know. And so then they told me I had to call the, when you have a disrupt or something, can't think of what it's called, dispute. When you have a dispute, you have to call this other number. You have to go through this other process and fill out these papers. And so you know, and then keep the $450 until they decide. And so, did all those papers, and then they said, well, that could be 10 days while they try and figure it out. And so, wherever, I just took the money out of my account and kept it in the bank. And so I just got to check again today. It hadn't been resolved yet, but today again I'll check and see if they have put it back. But man, you got to be on top of this shit, like on your receipts and all this stuff. And as I've heard other people saying the same stuff, and if you're not paying attention, they'll just take the money out of your account, and there's no telling how many things, you know, they haven't paid attention, and they've just taken the money. So, you know, but it's all going to fail. The banks are about to go down. It's going to be so good when it does too. Is the quantum thing is going to be we're our own bankers. And I saw a video footage of this girl. She was sharing where she lives, which I don't even know where it is, but she's saying it's the cheapest market in all of America. And she was showing houses around her, and nice houses and stuff, $20,000. And that is what it was when I moved to Spokane too. That's why we left California to move to Spokane, was because of the prices of houses. But then when we got there, it was impossible to get one because it was all being taken by the developers, and they would get to buy the house sight unseen. If you were a person, you couldn't buy it. They would get up every morning, every house that went on, they'd just buy them sight unseen. But you'd call the realtor and they'd tell you, you have to go out and look at the house, but they won't go show you the house because there's already an offer on the house, so you can't get the house. It was the most absurd bullshit, and so frustrating. And then, of course, they jacked all the houses up. Now there's like $350,000 there. But so where this girl is showing, but that's the prices we're going back to. So we're going back to where houses are like $20,000. So you'll be able to get houses and stuff. It's going to be more of new, is going to be where you have to pay more, where you'll be taxed, because there's not going to be taxes unless you're buying something new. And I'm telling you, man, go in and walk around over there with all those new houses. It's just, man, they're all so, it's just like the same fucking house. And seeing all these construction workers talking about, like, they're putting up broken trusses and shit. The construction workers are being concerned about the supplies they're using with these contractors and developers and stuff, because they don't give a fuck. They're just out to make some quick cash. And this is, you know, part of us. This is the disclosure of the reality of what is the corruption. And this was a perfect one too, is because what was that? I started this movie, but I've only seen a little bit of it, but it had something in it that it was important of okay, let me see what that was. It was okay, so the person, okay, so this was this movie is called something like The Murder of Morgan or something like that. And so this husband who feels all the pressure of the bills and what his wife wants to spend money on, so, and he's not making enough money, so he gets involved with crimes. One of his crimes is, so he has a little market, and he's selling food that is out of date. So he's buying food. It's a whole scam where they get the food that is getting thrown away, and then they go and sell it to stores, and then stores sell this outdated food. But to buy the dated food is really expensive, so they buy the outdated food. So right there, they've already got a crime going, and so they're already involved with criminals. And but in this movie in particular, the criminal he's involved with is, and this is all part of disclosure. Don't forget, everything is so we can start seeing. It's like the soft rollout. It's like the soft open for your mind. And so, and this is where I talk about there's going to be people that are going to be out of people's families and stuff they're going to be going down for crimes, and these people just don't even, there's going to be people that don't see it coming with their family members and stuff. So this guy, he's involved with these criminals, but the one criminal who's got a record, he needs something distributed through this guy's IP address or something, and because he is on a list, you know, the list I'm talking about, he's on that list, you know, prevents you to go to parks and schools, and so he can't use his IP address. He's got to use this other one. This other guy, you know, he's already in bed with the criminal. So what's he going to do? It's like, okay, you want to do another crime? Okay, you know. And they've shown this. This is in movie after movie after movie. And so then the guy who owns the store now is distributing. Yeah, so there's going to be so much. What was this other one too that I just saw? Was a guy who's going down, and stuff coming out on him is, there's just going to be so much. There's going to be so much, you know, and each person's going to be hoping that their family members aren't involved in this stuff. Like, there's definitely going to be people who are going to have family members that are going to go down and they're going to be shocked over some of these crimes. Like, well, everybody's screaming and yelling, wants the truth. And there's going to be people who are going to see their own moral compass when they're going to try and hide what their husband has done from the rest of the family and stuff. Like, there's going to be, you know, a lot of one's own facing one's own moral compass. This is the facing oneself. This is judgment day. This is you seeing who you are at your core. So be aware when you are making decisions and taking actions. This is you. You are going to be witnessing yourself from the core. And you are going to see yourself, and you're going to feel it. You can't get away from your own judgment. And people are doing things and thinking that they're getting away with it because they haven't faced themselves yet. But there's only going to be the one thing you're going to be able to face is yourself. And all this truth that's coming up around us is to bring the truth to the center. Bring your truth to your core so you can see who you've been, who you've played, what you've done throughout your time. And so it's for you. That is that micro macro. It's going back. The expression out is going back. So everything that you've put out is coming back, so that you have to see it, so you get to feel it. It's like it's so similar to a life review in life. And so, but it is going to be so much of a burden to people who don't understand spirituality and don't have a good relationship with themselves. And so there's going to be a lot of trauma associated with this whole experience. And that is the awakening. But it is, when the stuff starts going to me in the sky, it's going to be, the opening up is going to show, it's not going to show outer space like people think. It's going to be, that's what is going to be the part that is so like, what? Because it's not going to be like outer space. It's going to be like a sci-fi movie. It's going to open up, and it's going to be like colors and dimensions and energy. It's going to be fucking cool. It's going to be fucking cool. But to me, like when they took me out into space to show me that thing, it was like this one thing. It was all there was, because I need to focus on that. I had to come from far so I could feel how far it can affect the energy of what we're putting out and the cycles and how all the people go through the pain and suffering at the same time. Just as right now, there's so many people putting out pain and suffering on the planet, and it goes and it permeates out. That is the expression that I got to witness and to see that how the universal consciousness feels the pain. And that is why it has to be contained. But I could feel the pain, and it was horrible. It was horrible to feel. And it was going through my body. It was like I could hear it, like the same thing I could see on the roller coaster was the same. It was like this is hard to explain. So I could see it with my eyes. I could see this roller coaster thing, and I could see, and it was almost like everybody was on a ride going through, and you could feel all their emotions and hear them scream and stuff. It was, oh God, it was horrible. But I could feel it inside of me. It was like I was the ride. So I could see it, but I could feel it and hear it. It was all, so that is why we're contained. That is why we are here for the healing, to get out of these cycles, to form independence, to become a sovereign soul. And I just think, I don't know. I mean, there's so many where people say this has never been done before, this ascension, why we're here. But I know that a soul is constantly evolving. So a soul is constantly ascending towards its advancement. And there's only certain places, I mean, the expansion of the universe, but I mean, we still are the universe, although it's expanding, but there's still a limitation. The limitation is us when we hold ourselves back. But so it's all still, souls are always ascending, but this is like a mass ascension. This is like all of us doing it together. And so it's like a lot of people. And I think there's people who probably haven't ascended before. And so this is their first ascension. And then you have so many people who are so cut off from themselves. And that, else, like, I don't know if it's just that reincarnation recycle, that they've just got a long ways to find themselves. But I just feel like that there's the coming into your own is the development of the sovereign soul, the sovereign being. Like I don't, like Kelly, well, Kelly doesn't exist. The soul that is here playing Kelly. When I leave, I don't have to go back and be a part of the whole. I'm a sovereign soul. I can go out on my own sovereign experience. I can become a creator. I mean, just as we all are creators, because we create the stories that survive and thrive, coming into my mind, but that we are the creators of the stories, of expression, of the development of ourselves. And so, anyways, there's just a lot going on with people, with their souls and their memories, and in the heavy influence that we're trying to break free from. And so, and all this stuff, that I have been saying and stuff, to me, it just is all going together more and more and more, which to me just keeps giving me more and more confirmation. Because like I said, I don't go out here and talk about this stuff because I've seen evidence. I go out and talk about this stuff because it's inside of me. It's what, it's what to me is what I'm supposed to do. Is like that. I feel like now, when I look back, it is like more like I was in training while they were talking to me. They were training me for this time or something. They were getting me ready. But it is curious to me, because when I started being more awakened to like these different groups and all that stuff, the Palladians and all that stuff, is I really aligned with them. And so to me, man, I just, to me, I really am hoping that I get to meet face to face with whoever has been talking to me throughout my childhood, throughout my life. That to me, and I don't know, is it Anunnaki? Is it Palladian? Is it just, I have no idea, because I don't ask the names. And even when I hear people saying, well, I'm channeling Archangel Michael and stuff like that, it's like, well, you think you are. I mean, just because they said a name, I think the most important thing is the message, not the name. But so many people, it's like they feel like they got to give the name, they got to drop names in order to validate themselves in their own inner knowing. It's the knowing, it's the information. That's the what matters. That's what the people need, not where it's coming from or who said what. It's just the information. And then the people themselves get to decide when information is important to them and when information doesn't matter to them. And when information is just stuck in the pocket for a later date. So, you know, when I see these people, well, I'm channeling, I mean, we got Source, we got Archangel Michael, we got like all these people, they're going, and I don't know, you know, maybe they do have direct contact with all these different entities and stuff like that. You know, to me, the thing to listen to is the information, not the person that they say they're talking to. Listen to the information. What is the information speaking to you through your heart? Go trying to stop using this so much and start listening through here. How does it make you feel? What is go through your heart space, your soul. What does your soul tell you about that information? What does your soul say about it? So just don't get caught up in thinking like, well, this person, they said Archangel Michael said this, so that's got to be the most important. No, you don't even know if who they're fucking channeling. Like, I hear people say they're channeling shit all the time. And I'm like, ugh, that is dark shit that you're channeling. Like, I don't know who the hell you're channeling. So that is where you got to use discernment. And like, I could go out, there's stuff that I could be going out and saying, and I know I have said things before, and then gone in and thought back and thought like, wait a minute, especially when there's a lot of information coming in, that you can be having a lot of different stuff, and so it's the receiver has to use their discernment too. I'm just spouting out a bunch of stuff, and so then it's the receiver is the one that has to process the information and let their soul speak to them of what information that is valid for them. It doesn't matter, you know, what I say. It's not like, I mean, because there's people who come in and, you know, they want to change what I say, change what I think, enlighten me, tell me this, tell me that, or whatever. And, but, you know, it's your own information. It's your own stuff. Like, we shouldn't be wasting time going in and telling somebody else, well, no, that's not true. You can't think that. Well, it's in my brain. It's in my heart. So I'm thinking it. So it's obviously, you know, happening. Like, what are you talking about? So, and get out of, you know, trying to please other people and think like you have to think and feel on a script. I mean, that's the same thing to me as this thing about the eating meat thing where they tell these people that they can't eat meat if they want to be spiritual. Your spirit will tell you when to stop eating meat. Your spirit, like, listen to your spirit, not somebody else's. You're not being spiritual if you're listening to somebody else. You're being 3D because why are you listening to somebody else? Why aren't you listening to yourself? And so that is 3D, because the 3D is the expression where you're trying to please others and trying to make others happy and show what a good person you are and all that stuff. You're trying to understand yourself. You're trying to see yourself through others. So it's all a part of the process. It's all a part of the development. But it's time to level up. And this is our leveling up experience. This is our leveling up opportunity. And so anyways, just, you know, use your discernment. That is something that you're here working on, is your discernment, your ability to connect to yourself and to, you know, don't get put off by your information. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to say that before I go. Okay. So the guy with the blonde hair, was it him or was it Greer? Greer was talking about, because he was talking about like a lot of these, I think he was calling them interstellar beings, but maybe the interstellar ones are the space ones. I don't know. But the beings that are multidimensional, that are in our here, but they're in other dimensions and stuff like that. And how people get really paranoid about them. You know, people think like they're demons and devils. And I always say they're like energetic attachments. They're energy. They're energy that doesn't really have it. They're not consciously aware energy. They're an energy, an emotion that it doesn't really know what it is. It is like, when they first started showing me this, it was like a long while ago. And, you know, the scenarios where they were showing me, it was like a lot of stuff that was going on around people and stuff. And and this was like fucking 2015, I think. And they were showing me like drama and stuff going on with people. And I don't know how to explain this really now. It was so much more fresh then, but it still is like a basis of my, but it is like the people in the dark energy, the people who are low vibration like that, who are always in trouble and trauma and all that, they are like, they're like in muck. They're just in this muck of dark energy. It's like they're just walking through it and it's just attaching to them. And, but so that dark energy that I'm always talking about, that energy attachments, he was saying that those, where this girl was asking a question about like these beings that get on us and feed on us, because there's some of that too, because the energy we put out, it's unharnessed. We don't use it, right? So yeah, there's energies that use, there's energies that we feed with our energy. But so he explains them as stupid. That's what he says. They're just really stupid. They're just stupid. They don't have any intelligence or something. But so to me, that's how he sees them, is just like underdeveloped energy, which is the same as what I see them. I just see them as a very specific emotion that attaches to you, that makes it really hard to break that emotion, that really feeds that emotion. And so it's really hard to break that system of connection with this energy that attaches to you. And so, but it's part of what you got to use with your discernment when you realize like you've got all these attachments. But that is like here, it's like the parasites. It's like in this vibration where there can be all these parasites, which I think that's why they use these bot things to put out into the atmosphere to try and get inside of us and try and make them go together so that they can animate us and control us, which of a simple-minded person, I think that they can. And I think it's being proven that they are going in and killing people with, so what was that? Because I wanted to say that real quick. Is so that person, okay, that because that girl, what was it she said? Oh man, it was something I really wanted to say what this girl said. It came in when I was in the middle of a sentence. It keeps popping in, but I'm trying to see it through all of the other stuff. So much easier when it pops in, but when you're in a mid-sentence, you can't just like exit, even get more choppier. And it's already so hard with trying to get the stuff. I'm sure that's probably why some of these people who channel, close their eyes and cut everything off so that they can just focus on what they're hearing. But anyways, I'm sloppy. But what was that thing that girl said? When the bank thing, what was I just talking about? Man, I wish I could just go backwards a second so I could see. Okay, because I was talking about the food, the money, the going, the attachments. Her, was it attachment? Was she having some kind of thing that she was attached to her that she was trying to break? What was she doing? What is that I'm trying to see? Oh, man, it was something real, it was real. I mean, I'm putting way more, too much. I mean, it's becoming to where I'm putting more effort in than it was probably has the value of what it is going to be. But it went with what I was talking about. So, all the time when I stop and then I was like, oh, I forgot to say this. I forgot to finish that. So I really want to finish this, not bring it to the next day. Let me think what it was. I'm trying to see that video of what it was that she was doing or saying. Was it something with an animal? Was it something? Oh, Okay, the animal thing. Was it something? As soon as I say animal, then I have these other ones that start coming in and interfering when I'm trying to focus and go draw my attention closer and closer to the one I'm trying to see. But there's always interference. And so that's why it really is. It's a mastery to really be able to develop your mind into that seeing something. You know, just like what I was saying when I would be outside, you know, really focusing in on a sound and trying to really hear a sound. And it's a whole thing about direction and control. It takes a lot of mind control to go and see something that you're trying to see in your head, just like what I was saying, you know, when you're trying to hear a song and stuff. Any of these things, when you're trying to see them, or hear them, it is like a mastery to fine tune your mind to get it into that position to where you can conquer it. And now I got that fucking Stephen Colbert fucking video and the song. Man, I can hear it so well. It drives me crazy. But it's disturbing. I mean, it's you can tell he's just torturing this kid. The look on the kid's face is horrendous. And Stephen Colbert, what a fucking creep ass that dude is. God, can't wait to see some of these people go down. What was it? Was it something with the actor, the Stephen Greer, the reincarnation, the heart, the consciousness, their retrieval, their active retrieval, active Soylent Green, active all this stuff that they're doing that all these people ought to wake up to. And there's fucking people, you know, going to McDonald's today. So, like, yeah, that's going to be some fresh shit, you know, you're going to be waking up to, like, gross, man. And then plus, even when you say McDonald's, there's so many people who think it's just McDonald's. Okay, it's just McDonald's. Yeah, I don't trust any of those places. I mean, even the meat distributor places for a restaurant, you know, they've got to get their meat from somewhere. They don't know. They're not out there killing the cow. You're not out there killing the cow. You don't know where the hell your meat came from. And I swear to God, there was this other thing, but I'm just going to let it go. Forget about it. Well, I won't forget about it. It'll drive me crazy. Because sometimes I'll even want to go in and do a TikTok video just to say, but then I'm like, well, people aren't even going to know. So anyways, I'll just have to say it tomorrow. I'll just have to link all this stuff back in. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe tomorrow's is going to all be linked. It seems like to me, it does all have a chain that links it all together. Or all of it. It all goes together. I'm telling you, everything. It all is a representation of itself. But anyways, when the sky opens up, I think that is where people are going to really start seeing what life is really all about. Like when the awakening part where people start seeing the corruption and the horrendousness and face themselves of the choices they made, like being in the dark island and going dark, and having to face themselves through shame and pain and anger at themselves, shame and guilt. But the shame, man, shame is going to be big. You're going to feel so much shame of how stupid that they were and how mad they are at themselves. And plus the crazy, stupid people, how the hell could they see? Those people are crazy and stupid, so how did they know what was going on? That is going to be a big one. I swear to God, we're going to hear that a lot. That's going to be said. It may not be said to those of us who are awake. It may be, you know, as they do need to be honest about themselves. But it is definitely going to be, they're going to be saying it to each other. I can't believe that motherfucker knew. I can't believe they're so fucking crazy. And, but when they do that, just remember it's them trying to lighten the load on themselves, to try and, you know, try and feel better for themselves. So whatever is said and stuff, just remember it's all going to be a part of the transition. It's all going to, it isn't where everything's going to stay that way. Like all throughout this, there's so many people think everything's going to stay the way it is, stay the way that they say and stuff like that. No, everything is just being shown to you so that you can see how you feel about it, so you can let it go. So we can, I mean, we had to see how rotten this stuff was to let it go. I mean, a lot of people thought like they were having their dream life, and it was horrible. So we have to see the truth, and then seeing our truth and healing, that is what's going to bring in this whole opening our galactic lives and being able to interact with these other beings that are going to help us move further, faster and stuff. So anyways, I'm going to be hoping today that the banks literally go down like fucking hell. Cannot believe how long this drags out. But, you know, we're days away from the Fed now, and who knows, has this all just been a psyop to get us nervous, to get those people just to focus on that? I don't fucking know. You just got to see it as it comes. I'm going to, you know, continue just going in my direction. I haven't paid the house, and, you know, if they come and try, and right now they're still calling, and I kind of feel like, because that's all they can do, I feel like the courts are not on their side. The courts have been taken over. I mean, we're already seeing judges and stuff go down. So I don't think that they can go and sue and file foreclosure on us. But, you know, I'm in Washington State too, and I don't know, you know, there's just so much. You just got to, I go with what, you know, is in my heart. Just follow your heart. And, you know, and then just deal with your consequences, because those are your lessons. So follow your heart and then deal with your consequences, and just stay in that flow as we're going through this. And just don't get stuck on thinking, oh, well, okay, yeah, they woke up and what an asshole, you know, and oh my God, they're just so depressed and they're just cry all the time. And I can't believe, you know, there's going to be so much stuff that people are going to see in their relationships and stuff when this happens. And so just don't get stuck. Remember, we're still in this transition. We're still in this part. And you're still in a reevaluation of what relationships are good for you, what relationships are healthy for you, which ones are toxic for you. And it isn't to just, you know, excommunicate. Like, you know, most people think their families are so toxic to them and they want to just excommunicate them. But those relationships are your tightest orbit. They're the ones you're going to learn the most from. And they are important relationships in your life. But you also have got to be the one who sets your boundaries and your and when you need to be surrounded by people on your wavelength, and that is the wavelength you got to find. There's so many people in relationships with people that are not on the same wavelength, and they're going to be like all sad or whatever when the relationships end, but you're not on the same wavelength. You're struggling. You need to go out and heal yourself, and then get on, you know, your best, so that you can be in the wavelength of your counterpart that is at their best, so that then when you come together, you get to have a real experience of, you know, what love and connection can be. Not this struggle thinking that toxic marriages are love. Like, we're messed up. And there's so many people holding on to these toxic relationships because they're so out of fear. They don't know what would happen. What if I'm just an old single person and I'm alone? What would I do? Well, that is because your fear. You're just going to sit there and be an old single person. You don't have to be an old single person. You can go out and travel. You can go out and do anything you want to do. You know, you get to decide what you want to do, but you have to make the decisions for you. I've seen so many different people. You know, people are creating lives that they want to have. Some are groups of women, groups of single women who want to stay single, and they want to have people to go out and travel, and they're making up groups to go out and travel and see the world with. So, you know, there's a lot, there's no containment. The only containment is when you contain yourself. And the containment that you use to contain yourself is self-doubt, not believing in yourself, not being willing to risk being vulnerable, like all of those things. You create your own cage. So spend more time dismantling the cage and opening yourself up to possibilities. and get out there and live your life. But not in a shallow, blind way, in a way of connection and interaction that helps you grow through this process. Not just a shallow, what can I consume? What can I buy? What can I, just go deeper. Just go deeper on things. And so anyways, I've been talking a long ass time. And so, just keep working on you, and don't get stuck in thinking that, we're going to stay the same. We're going to keep moving until we get to where we want to go. And then it's still not going to stay the same. It's impossible for nature to stay the same. It's always going to be moving. So get in the direction you want it to go for you. And, decide, do you want it on that locomotive, or you want on that choo-choo train that's just chugging along, barely making it? Because getting on that locomotive is full speed ahead, and you got to be willing to do the work. And so that's where I'll be. And I'm going to be, get out there. I just want to get out there and, live and adventure and meet people and talk to people and socialize. And I'm excited for the future. But, we do have to get through this hard part. I know there's a lot of people who feel like, well, we just got to get out there and build a commune right now. Come on, everybody, let's do it. But we're still in this period of time where everything's got to crash. Once it all crashes, then it's going to be more safe. Once they start the Gitmo, the tribunals and stuff like that, like they're already going, but once they start the televised versions, and once they start really, opening up the freedom cities and stuff, and then really start pushing that is when everything is going to be like, yeah, we're going to be a lot more freer to move, but you're still going to have to, be wary of certain places, because there's going to be, like in big cities and stuff, where that's going to be where everybody's leaving from. But going into a big city, like, I don't know who'd want to move into one of those, but going into them, there will be violence and stuff. But going out and finding other places to build communities and townships and all of that, there will be a lot of that. And like, that's when I think it's going to really be safe. Because right now, like, you can be in a group with like-minded people. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of communes and communities that are thriving. But, trying to find them and stuff throughout all this chaos, to me, is when something comes to you. Like, if something comes to you, like, I do have all these different people asking me, but it isn't where, like, it comes to me, but it isn't inside where they go, yeah, okay, go, go there. It's like, I know that there's a lot of options, but I want to go out and experience and find where it is that I want to be. And there's so many places I want to see and go. And like, I really want to go to Scotland. There's so many places I want to go. And so, yeah. And I know that there's tons of people who want to go out and experience adventures and stuff like that. So, and I think there's going to be a lot less work, when you don't have to, you're going to be able to work like a part-time job and be able to, and there's going to be so much where people aren't even going to have to work jobs, because they're going to have developed something that they are good at or can sell or market themselves, and can work when they want, how they want. And in all of the money that they receive will be just theirs. Not going to be dividing it up with taxes and shit anymore. And so there's going to be huge changes, just huge changes in our lives and our lifestyles. So anyways, just get excited and just keep working on you. And, don't let all this stuff get you down. But, the Gaia channel has got a lot of stuff. If you're trying to learn about stuff, I say, look on the Gaia channel. It's like the only one I can think of that is out there that you can go and find a lot of this stuff that you want to. But you got to use your discernment, because you don't know how much of it is controlled information and how they want us to look at something. So use your discernment. But the more reference material you have, because remember, that is why so much abuse has happened, is because there was no reference. People didn't know because they couldn't understand. And that's what we're acquiring at this time, is reference. So gather your reference. It will give you insight. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.